All right, got another book for you today. We're gonna just do a quick page through Pelgrane Press's Cugel's Compendium for the Dying Earth RPG. You may have saw in another video, I got a huge haul of these books and definitely have not read through them all, but I just wanted to kind of page through this stuff and show you guys what's in here. So Cugel's Compendium of Indispensable Advantages is sort of just a party bag for you to pull stuff from. So one of the really cool parts about this book is all of these quotes. Really at the top of every single page, there's just a quote from one of the original 4 stories. And it's just, it somehow being able to read this like anchors you to the setting. You're able to reference some of these insane passages that Vance is talking about. And often they will sort of reference something in the text. So anyways, let's go back here. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of move through this. So chapter 1, Arcane Adjuncts of Obvious Utility. So this is a bunch of cool magic items. And what I love about this book too is the rules are really pretty light. You should easily be able to take one of these things and port it into like old school essentials, D&D, really kind of whatever system you're using. Right here, you see we've got the diamonds that work. Thak Thark, I made a video on that. Check out that one. But there's all kinds of cool stuff in here. You've got the Momp Stone. Momp is a dull greenish tinted stone, sometimes flecked with gray. It strongly resists polish or elegant cutting, making it of no use to jewelers. However, Momp Stone fragments from seams lying near major cities, battlefields, or palaces are much in demand among academic historians. The stone literally absorbs history and releases it when burned. That's just awesome. There's so many different things that you can do with these magic items. They're not just like, oh, this is a +1 sword of fire damage. They have very interesting uses that may not seem useful at first glance, but creative players can really take these things and run with them. Never underestimate the ingenuity of your players. They'll do crazy stuff that you couldn't have possibly imagined. We've got a bunch of different magic items in here. Okay, chapter 2, Fashions, Fripperies, and Fops. This chapter details new equipment, such as the tasteful many-tiered hat above. Some of it exhibits magical nature, but none require magic ability, nor even rudimentary magical understanding to use. So these are great for your sort of wayfarer type characters, your vagabonds who are not really magicians, but you still want to give them these sort of minor magic items. A lot of this stuff is... Let's just look at one. Imperial Kang Jelly Bath, an indispensable adjunct for persons of wealth and taste. The Kang Jelly Bath is a tastefully decorated tub, some 6 feet deep, 6 feet wide, 8 feet long. And then it gives you some background on like world building. You could find this excavated near Azenamai. Once ready, 1 or more persons may suspend themselves in luxury. Okay, I love this one. The Distracting Bauble. A distracting bauble is a piece of costume jewelry so well crafted that it seems a genuine and phenomenally large precious gem set in real gold or silver. While you're having a conversation with someone, if we were to strip away all these rules and I was just to distill it into a very basic idea, it's like if you're negotiating with someone and you've got the distracting bauble, if they are a person who is concerned with wealth and foppery, the distracting bauble might give you advantage on charisma checks to negotiating with them. A lot of this stuff you can really just pull out of here and it should be pretty easy to retool because the rules in this Dying Earth Pelgrane RPG are so light. It's really easy to just slap your own rules on top. Here we've got the many-tiered hat. The more tiers on your hat, obviously the better standing you are in society because everyone cares about how many hats you wear at once. So we've got all kinds of cool stuff in here. All right. Chapter 3, Clever Cantraps for the Resourceful Rogue. The following register of advantageous cantraps offers generous utility in a variety of circumstances. So cantraps, these are going to be more minor spells. A magician may have these, but even a wayfarer would have these. Cugel does some magic in the books. He's not a full-blown wizard, so he can do some of this like thaumaturgy type, prestidigitation type stuff. And that's really what this chapter is. There's just a bunch of cool stuff in here. Efficacious Spring. Lets you jump far. Farragos, Feints, and Flailings, Chapter 4. Previous chapters presented new entries in categories already created in the Dying Earth game. This chapter introduces a new type of advantage, Okay, so these are like traits that you could apply to your character. And so this is very Pelgrane RPG specific, but also I think these are really good inspirations to just flavor a character, right? Like, what do you want your character to be good at? Maybe they're eloquent, or perhaps they're lawyerly, right? It's a way to play your character and sort of get some social inspiration. A big part of the Dying Earth, it's seen as barbaric to kill somebody. Leanne the Wayfarer is an absolute barbarian, but the average person wins conflict by overcoming their opponent in argument and outmaneuvering them socially. When swords are drawn, then you're in the territory of barbarism. So this is a cool way to add a little bit of social flavor to your character. There's a bunch of cool traits in here. Not all of it is social. You know, you've got some cool combat maneuvers and ways of fighting and so on, ways of hiding and stuff like that. Okay, this is a hilarious blurb that runs through the rest of the book. It's called Confidence Gains, a gallery of stratagems. It's a fully flavorful, no rules. Yeah, it's sort of a guidebook for a character like Cugel to come up with a bunch of scams. So it's really hilarious. There's really, really great stuff in here. Let's see, heroism is not its own reward. This simple technique is merely a method of introduction for some. Determine that a wealthy but physically unprepossessing person will be alone at a predictable time. This may require nothing more than observation of the mark's habits. In a dim and desolate spot, have a disguised Confederate assault the wealthy individual. When things look worse for the mark, step in and effect a rescue, sending the supposed robber into a quick retreat. And now they'll pay you a bunch of money as you've built up yourself as a great ally to the person that you saved. And so this blurb kind of continues all throughout the book. It's absolutely hysterical. Definitely recommend checking those out if you can get your hands on a PDF copy of this or even a hard copy, which good luck. Cool, so we've got some more stuff, some cool art in here. You know, some of the weird demons and creatures of the Dying Earth show up in these books, which is cool. Petal Dreams. Do you find yourself at a seaport with a need to travel to a distant destination, but no money for passage? There are bound to be some present with a similar but not identical problem. They have money for passage, but cannot find accommodations. Hilarious. And again, these are stories or ideas that are pulled from really Cugel's misadventures. That's what this whole book is meant to be, sort of a guidebook to playing Cugel-like characters. Some of these get borderline adversarial with the Game Master. Like, it gives you advice on how to outmaneuver the Game Master as a player, which is insane and hilarious. Yeah, so this fourth chapter, Tweaks, is pretty extensive. So then we get to chapter 5, The Fine Art of Negotiation. Essays on the Consummation of Manifold Desires. This is just a bunch of roleplay advice. Very, very flavorful. Again, how to sort of overcome the GM and outmaneuver some of his NPCs. Again, a big part of the Pelgrane Press Dying Earth RPG is this sort of social mechanic. The social resolution is almost more of a focus than combat because of the nature of the game. All kinds of crazy stuff in here. Let's back up. So you've got the principles of artistic redundancy, whatever the hell that means. Persuading those who provide service and who love you not. We've got more of these stratagems for confidence games. Allies who should practice self-sacrifice. Just some really insane stuff. You know, Cugel is sort of a jerk of a character, and this manual kind of inspires or encourages players to follow in Cugel's footsteps, just really to chase a similar vibe to those Dying Earth stories. How to talk to a Deodand, negotiating with dangerous creatures. Very fun. This talks about how to talk to some of the specific creatures. Like, this stuff is definitely not in the DCC Dying Earth material. This is very, very, it's just very narrative in nature, and I love it for that. Vagaries of specific creatures. So it talks about how to talk to Deodans and herbs and Gons, ghouls, gids, hoons, leucomorphs, and pelgranes. I do have a bestiary book for this game where we'll kind of dig into these a little bit more and cover some of the monsters of the Dying Earth. I think that could be a fun video. More confidence games here. Really, I mean, a ton of writing, and all this reads in a very similar way to the character dialogue that you see in The Dying Earth, which is awesome. So if you're looking for that dialogue inspiration, which can, you know, a lot of people that I've heard talk about running games in The Dying Earth, one of the big hurdles that they have is sort of portraying that very flourished and over the top sort of dialogue. I think just by reading the original text, but also like reading stuff like this, just kind of filling your mind with all these crazy words and way sentence structures, you know, all this freak show prose is a really, really good way to get comfortable speaking in that way. One other cool thing about the Dying Earth Pelgrane RPG, players are rewarded experience when they can essentially like insert these very Vantian one-liners into their dialogue. But we'll kind of talk about that more once we go over like the main core book. Okay, then we get into the appendices here. So we've got the random costume generator. This has tons of different tables for coming up with the outlandish outfits that we see in The Dying Earth. Really, really crazy over the top stuff. We're even talking about like the sleeves table or the leg coverings table. It's very, very complete. Okay, we've got that for a few pages, and then we get to the end, the index. And yeah, that is Cugel's Compendium of Indispensable Advantages. Hope you enjoyed this page through. I know we didn't get into too much detail, but at least you got to see inside of these books. We'll do a similar video for the rest of the books and series. These things feel like lost artifacts. They're really, really hard to find. So I'm just excited to kind of be documenting this on YouTube. Until next time, happy gaming.